Welcome to New Thought Deep Dive. Each week, we dive into a refresher on New Thought spiritual ideas that leave you thinking. Everything about this podcast, from the intro to the script and the presenters, is generated by AI. For more information, please visit newthoughtnexus.net.
You know that immediate visceral reaction when you just tap open your banking app? Or like when you pull a stack of those thick, unforgiving envelopes out of the mail
Oh, yeah. The dread.
Right. Like you haven't even opened them yet. You haven't even looked at the numbers, but your chest instantly tightens.
Your breathing gets shallow.
Yeah, exactly. Your shoulders sort of creep up toward your ears, and you are just hit with this sudden, heavy wave of anxiety. Or, well, maybe guilt. But it is a completely physical sensation.
Oh, it is entirely biological. I mean, you are experiencing a literal fight or flight response.
Just from looking at a piece of mail.
Right. Triggered by, pixels on a screen or ink on a page. Your nervous system is reacting as if there is a literal predator in the room.
Wow.
But the predator is, it's just a number.
Just a number. But I mean, what if that physical panic is based on a massive collective illusion?
Right. Which it is.
Yeah. So today we are doing a deep dive into the materials from week 3 of your class on abundance and spiritual freedom. And our mission today is to completely dismantle what the materials call the money enigma.
The money enigma. I love that term.
It's so good because, well, as long as you are locked in a scarcity mindset, treating wealth as this rare physical object that you have to aggressively hoard just to survive, you're going to carry that tightness in your chest everywhere you go.
You really will. It's exhausting.
So exhausting. So we're going to fundamentally reframe currency today as a joyful, flowing energy.
Which, that sounds like a beautiful poetic idea, right?
Yeah, until you actually have to pay rent.
Exactly. Until the rent is due. So to untangle those knots of worry for everyone starting this class, we really have to look past the poetry. We have to systematically change how you perceive the very concept of money.
Right.
We have to look at why we've given it so much power over our nervous systems in the first place.
Let's start right there then with the money enigma, because the class materials describe it as a trap. But, when you're in the middle of a really stressful financial month, it doesn't feel like a philosophical trap.
No, not at all.
It just feels like harsh reality. So how do we accidentally fall into this?
Well, we fall into it because we are conditioned from a very young age to view money as the cause rather than an effect.
Okay, a cause rather than an effect.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the core of the enigma. We take these little pieces of paper or digital ledgers nowadays, and we assign them the ultimate power to dictate our happiness.
And our self-worth, too.
Oh, entirely. Our self-worth, our physical security. We basically elevate the tool to the status of a master.
I have to say, I struggle a bit with the neutral tool concept. Like, the materials compare money to a blank canvas or a paintbrush.
Yeah, the paintbrush analogy.
Right, because a paintbrush isn't inherently good or evil. It's just waiting for the artist. But a paintbrush doesn't decide if I have a roof over my head or if I can afford health care. So money feels a lot heavier than a paintbrush.
It does feel heavier. But see, the weight you're feeling is the weight of society's collective anxiety.
Oh, interesting.
It's not the intrinsic weight of the money itself. Think about a hammer, right? A hammer can build a house or, it could shatter a window. The hammer has no moral agenda.
Right, it's just a piece of metal and wood.
Exactly. Money operates the exact same way. It is just a mechanism for exchange.
Yeah.
The problem arises when we stop using the hammer to build our lives and instead start bowing down to the hammer.
Wow. Bowing down to it.
Terrified that it might leave us, we end up compromising our actual lives for the symbol of life.
That brings up a huge friction point, I think, for anyone on a spiritual path, because so many of us grew up hearing that phrase, money is the root of all evil.
Oh, constantly.
It's so embedded in our culture, and it creates this lingering, almost subconscious guilt. Like, if you're a deeply spiritual person, you should just embrace poverty. Yeah.
Right, like wanting to be financially comfortable feels inherently dirty or greedy somehow.
Yes, exactly.
And that specific guilt is the engine behind so much unnecessary human suffering. Let's look at the actual historical and philosophical root of that phrase.
Please do, because it trips so many people up.
The complete thought, the actual quote, is that the love of money is the root of all evil.
The love of money.
Yes. It's the worship of the tool rather than the creator. When you worship the tool, you hoard it out of fear.
Right.
You manipulate others to get it. Or, you stay in a miserable, soul-draining job because you're absolutely terrified of losing the paycheck.
Basically, you're serving the money rather than letting the money serve you.
Exactly, that dynamic. Money was made for humanity. Humanity was not made for money.
That's a great way to put it.
And the universe inherently wants you to expand. It wants you to express your unique gifts, to experience joy, to be a vibrant blessing to your community.
Right.
But how can you possibly do that if you are completely consumed by the sheer terror of meeting your basic needs?
You can.
No, survival mode completely blocks high-level expression. You cannot write a beautiful symphony or start a transformative charity if you are, hyperventilating about your grocery bill.
Okay, so if we stop treating it as a master to be feared or, some evil to be avoided, what is the actual energetic reality of currency? Because the materials use this word, substance.
Substance, yes.
Which, I'll be honest, sounds a bit abstract for something as concrete as a $20 bill.
It does sound abstract, but we really have to ground the concept of substance because it's the foundation of everything you're studying in this third week of the class.
Okay, lay it out for us.
So the word itself comes from the Latin substare, which means to stand under.
To stand under.
Right. Substance is the invisible, intelligent essence that stands under and forms all visible things in our universe.
Like an invisible blueprint.
Yes, exactly like an invisible blueprint.
But how does an invisible blueprint become like a physical piece of paper in my wallet?
Well, think about how anything is created in our world. An architect has a completely invisible idea for a building.
Right. It just exists in their mind.
Exactly. That idea, that invisible energy, is the substance. And then, through action, focus, and collaboration, that invisible idea eventually materializes.
Into steel and glass.
Steel, glass, concrete. The physical building is just the formed result of the unseen substance.
Oh, I see.
So in this framework, money is simply formed substance. It is divine energy that has taken a visible, usable form in the physical world. And is meant to bless, nourish, and support your human experience.
Okay, wait. So when you receive unexpected money or say you land a new client, it's not just blind statistical luck.
Not at all. It is the universe finding a joyful, open avenue to experience abundance through you. It's that invisible substance moving into form.
That is such a huge shift. But we block that avenue all the time, don't we? Often verbally.
Yes, constantly.
There's this really relatable daily habit that you do, I do, we all do. Let's call it the only trap.
The only trap, yes.
You look in your wallet and you sigh and you say, I only have $20 left. Or you look at your paycheck and tell a friend, I only make this much. It's just an automatic reflex.
And it's a reflex that acts exactly like a valve shutting off a water pipe.
Really? Just from one word?
Yes, because money, as formed substance, is a highly sensitive energy. It responds directly to the consciousness of the person holding it.
Wow.
So when you label your finances with the word only, you are basically placing a hard mental limit on limitless potential.
I think about it like, okay, imagine having a massive, limitless electrical current running from the power grid straight into your house.
Right.
But instead of plugging into it, you're standing there constantly complaining about the size of the little plastic outlet on the wall.
That's a perfect analogy.
You're depreciating the energy before you even try to use it. But let's look at the mechanism here. Why does dropping a simple word like only actually change your financial reality? I mean, is it just a psychological trick to make us feel better about being broke?
No, it's not just a trick. It literally changes your behavioral frequency, which changes how the world interacts with you.
Okay, how so?
When you operate from the mindset of only, you approach life from a position of desperation. You walk into a job interview projecting scarcity.
Right. You're willing to accept less than you're worth.
Exactly. You make financial decisions based on a panic fear of loss rather than, a confident vision of growth. And people, opportunities, energy, they all respond to that desperate frequency by pulling away.
Because you're broadcasting a signal that basically says there's not enough here.
And the universe mirrors that right back to you.
So what's the alternative?
The alternative is to actively bless whatever is currently in your hands.
Whatever it is.
Whether your bank account says $5 or $5,000, you look at it and acknowledge it as a symbol of infinite divine activity.
You drop the word only.
You drop only, and you say, this is energy waiting to be directed. You remove the restriction on the outlet.
I can see how dropping only changes my posture and my mindset. But the anxiety we talked about at the very beginning of the deep dive, it isn't just a mindset issue. The panic is tied to the physical bills, to the hard numbers.
Right.
Why do we get so completely obsessed with the paper itself?
Well, because we have all bought into a brilliant collective hallucination.
A hallucination.
Yeah. To really break the spell, let's conceptually deconstruct a physical $100 bill. If you are holding one in your hand right now, what are you actually holding, physically speaking?
Well, physically, it's a blend of about 75% cotton and 25% linen, stamped with some specialized green and black ink.
Okay. Now imagine you are stranded on a deserted island.
Okay.
No society, no stores, just you and nature. What is that piece of cotton and linen worth?
It's completely useless. I mean, I can't eat it for calories. It won't keep the rain off my head.
Right.
I might be able to use it as kindling for a fire, but that's about it.
Exactly. It has zero intrinsic value. It operates entirely as a fiat currency. Yeah, fiat is a Latin word meaning let it be done, or it shall be. A fiat currency only has value because a government declared it has value. And more importantly, because all of us collectively agreed this morning that it matters.
We all woke up and agreed to pretend that this specific rectangle of cotton is worth a certain amount of groceries.
Or a fraction of a rent, yes.
So its power is 100% reliant on human belief.
Entirely. If human belief shifts, the value of the paper evaporates.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. There is an amazing physical exercise in the class materials that plays right into this. Let's call it the green side up exercise.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah. So if you, the listener, take a physical $1 bill out of your pocket right now and look at the side with George Washington, what do you see in the corners?
There's a big number 1.
Right, a
That's
good
ours.
number 1. And that number represents a finite limitation. It is $1 and not a single penny more. It represents the exact boundary of what that paper can do. But if you flip that bill over to the back, to the green side, right there in the center, above the word one is the phrase, "In God we trust."
It's the ultimate visual aid, honestly, hiding in plain sight.
It really is. It made me realize that every time I pull out cash to pay for something, I'm staring at the finite limitation.
Staring at the boundary.
Exactly. But that back side, the limitless side, is a tangible physical reminder sitting in your wallet of where your true security actually lies.
And the strategy behind that shift in focus is critical for your nervous system.
How so?
Well, if your ultimate faith is placed in the physical dollar, the fiat currency backed by fickle human belief, you are tying your personal security to the unpredictable panics of society.
Uh-oh.
If the stock market drops, your peace of mind drops. If the news cycle is negative, your sense of safety just plummets.
You are basically strapping yourself to a roller coaster that you have zero control over.
Yes. So to find true abundance, you have to consciously, deliberately take your faith out of the fragile, fluctuating dollar bill and place it back into the infinite, inexhaustible source.
You have to trust the invisible substance that stands under the money, not just the physical symbol.
Exactly.
Okay, let's follow that logic then. Because if we truly trust that source, if we really believe we are plugged into this limitless energy, then the entire concept of hoarding falls apart.
It completely dissolves.
Right. We don't have to stockpile our resources out of a panicked fear that the universe is going to run dry, which leads us perfectly into the next major concept in your class, the law of circulation.
The law of circulation is the direct antidote to the hoarding impulse. Life, at its very core, is not a hoarding process.
Right.
You cannot capture spiritual substance and lock it in a vault. You can only increase your personal capacity to let it flow through you. Giving and receiving are not two separate, distinct actions.
They aren't.
No, they are two halves of a single, unified movement.
It's just like breathing.
Exactly like breathing.
Trying to hoard your money out of fear is like taking a massive deep breath in, filling your lungs to capacity, and then just refusing to exhale. Because you are terrified there won't be any air left in the room for your next breath.
And what happens? You would eventually suffocate.
Right.
The flow has to be maintained to sustain the life force.
And think about a farmer, too. Like, imagine a farmer who is absolutely terrified of running out of seeds. The anxiety is so high that to protect their future, they take all their seeds and lock them inside a dark, secure, climate-controlled barn.
Which is what we do with our bank accounts when we panic.
Exactly. And what happens to the seeds? They never fulfill their purpose. They just sit in the dark.
Right.
But if the farmer takes those seeds and joyfully tosses them into the dirt, basically surrendering them to the earth, the universe takes over.
The soil and the rain multiply those few seeds into a massive harvest.
Yes. The act of giving them up is what creates the receiving of the harvest.
because the farmer has to trust the invisible process of growth.
I love the theory. I really do. It sounds incredibly peaceful. But
Let's get out of the metaphorical barn and back to the kitchen table. How do you actually practice this circulation when you are staring at a massive, unexpected medical bill? Or like a car repair you can't afford and you feel that painfully tight knot in your stomach?
Right.
Because it is really hard to feel like a joyful farmer tossing seeds when you feel like you're being robbed.
Oh, absolutely. And that moment right there at the kitchen table is a defining moment of the entire practice. That tight knot in your stomach, that is what the materials call the pinch.
The pinch.
Yes. It is a literal physical and mental contraction born entirely of fear. It is your ego screaming, if I let this money go, I will be diminished. I won't have enough to survive.
So how do we break that contraction? Do we just force a smile and click tay?
No. You have to address the body first.
Okay.
When you feel that pinch while spending money, you must catch yourself in the act. You pause. You take a literal physical breath.
Actually breathe. Actually breathe. Consciously drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. You have to force the physical exhale to signal to your nervous system that you are not in danger.
Wow, okay.
To relax that internal grip.
So you physically shift out of fight or flight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in that relaxed state, you actively bless the transaction.
Bless it. Like how?
You remind yourself that this money is God in action. It is formed substance. So as you pay that car repair bill, you visualize the money going out to pay the mechanic.
Right.
Who then uses it to buy groceries for their family.
Which supports the farmer.
Exactly. By releasing the money with intention and joy rather than fear, you are keeping your energetic river flowing fresh and clear. If you hold on to it with bitter resentment, you turn your financial flow into a stagnant, toxic pond.
Look at the massive shift we've mapped out for you today. We started by looking at money as this terrifying master, a scarce physical object that causes chest pain and controls your life. But now you have the tools to see it as a spiritually neutral tool. Simply formed substance waiting for your direction.
Waiting for you to use it.
Yeah. We've talked about taking your faith away from the illusion of fiat currency and placing it firmly back into the infinite source.
Flipping it green side up.
Yes, flipping it green side up. And most importantly, you know how to replace that panicked urge to hoard with the joyful breathing rhythm of the law of circulation.
So as you move through this third week of your class, this is your primary daily homework.
What's the homework?
Practice this every single time money moves through your hands. Every time you swipe your debit card at the grocery store, every time you hit submit on an online payment, pay attention to your body.
Feel for the pinch.
Catch the pinch. Take a breath, release the contraction,
Yeah.
mentally bless the money as God in action, and joyfully send it out to nourish the world.
So what does this all mean for your very next move today? I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your week.
Let's hear it.
If your wallet isn't just a leather container for cotton paper, but an actual active channel for the universe's creative energy, what happens if you treat your very next mundane purchase, even just buying a simple cup of coffee this morning, as a profound, intentional spiritual investment in the world's abundance?